it's Mia from Rose Nails by Marissa Coombs, and I'm really sorry I've had to speed this up quite a lot. I'm going to be showing you some 4D Pretty Putty designs from SBD London, and with Halloween just around the corner, I know it's only August, but I know that lots of people like to practice their designs, obviously, before you offer them on clients. So I wanted to show you this design to do a 3D skull. So far, as I showed at the beginning of the video, this is colour 153 from the individual range from SBD London. And I've just done 2 coats of colour and then their tempering top coat. You don't have to buff the top coat at all before you use the Pretty Putty. It's really good, it just goes straight onto the top coat, which kind of goes like against everything that I've ever learnt about nails, that if it's shiny then it won't stick, but this stuff sticks. I've worn this stuff on my own nails and my nails go through hell, just from being a nail technician and from having OCD. I mean, my hands get washed God knows how many times a day, and this stuff sticks. Like, this is the shiz. I love it. It's fantastic. So right, anyway, back to what I was doing. Right, I am using my 3D oval... No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I'm using my 3D oval 4 brush, I think, from SBD London. I did show it on the video a minute ago, if anyone was paying attention and not listening to me rabbiting on. And I've just got out some Pretty Putty in the colour Snow, which is just white. And I've used my spatula dipped in SBD London do a slip solution for their signature gel, and I find that that's the best thing to work the Pretty Putty with. So if you haven't got it, get it. And I'm just kind of making a rough skull shape. Now I have had to speed this video up quite a lot because I was faffing around for ages and it took me forever because I've not actually done a skull before. I'd not practiced this at all. I just kind of drew a rough idea of a skull on a bit of paper and then I was just copying from that. Right, so I'm going to be using that 3D brush, and I'm also going to be using my dotting tool, which has a really fine dot on one end and then a really fine sort of spiky point on the other end, and I do use both ends of that for this design. I think it was like £2 off eBay. I think it was a really cheapy thing, but it's been a lifesaver. I use it all the time. So now I've made the rough skull shape, I'm just making some eyeballs, because if I've got eyeballs then I've got a starting point as to where everything else is going to be. So always give yourself a reference point and then you know how to sort of size up everything else and where everything else is going to need to go. So I'm just sort of making him some eyeballs. I don't know why I have to say it like that. Some eyeballs. And I'm just sort of patting it down. I will try and describe what I'm doing the best I can. It's really hard to describe what you're doing without sort of being there with someone, but I'm just sort of moving his eyeballs around a little bit with my brush, and I think I do the same with my dotting tool. Oh no, so right here I'm going to make his little nose holes. Now obviously if it's a skull, it doesn't have a nose, it has like nose holes. I don't know what they would be called. Would that just be called nostrils in a skull? Or have they got like a different name when it's just in a skull? I don't know. Either way, I'm making him some nose holes. And I'm just sort of, I'm making a circle and then I'm using the really pointy bit of that tool to sort of pull up and sort of make them into a sort of teardrop shape. And then flattening down the Pretty Putty around it that I've sort of disturbed. Now with this design, I wish I'd done it in 2 halves, because obviously as you move the Pretty Putty like on one area that you're working on, it can sort of jiggle the rest of it around. And this design you can do in the top half of the skull and in the bottom half of the skull, which I'll show you in a minute. So I wish I'd have done the top half, then cured it, and then done the second half. But it's not the end of the world. So right, now I'm just using my brush. I'm just using like the sort of edges of my brush, of my 3D brush. And I'm just making sort of little indents of where his little forehead would have been, and I think I do some for the cheekbones as well, just to give him a bit more sort of life-likeness rather than just being like a flat skull. So I'm also going in with my dotting tool just to make those little, they're like furrows, aren't they, I suppose? Little indents. And I'm going to give some for his little eyebrow bony bits. And I'm literally just patting my dotting tool into the pretty putty. I'm not sticking it in and dragging it along, otherwise you're going to end up with a huge mess. This stuff is really easily workable. You don't have to drag it around or anything. It is really, really, really nice to work with. So you don't have to sort of move it around with loads of force. Right, so I am cutting out, this is what I meant, right? So I am now cutting out like the bottom jaw of the skull from the top of the skull. And this is the point where I could have done the top and then cured it and then done the bottom. Because doing the mouth is what took the most time of this design, because every time I tried to move the top, the bottom bit of the jaw was moving, and every time I tried to do the bottom, the top bit of the jaw was moving. And this is where I was kind of swearing and cursing and wishing that I'd done it in 2 stages. So right, I am using my brush here at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm pushing down on the body of the brush, not the tip, to push that bottom jaw product away from the top jaw. I hope that made sense. It did in my head. Again, this is just what took forever, because I wish I could have just cured the top. I really, at this point, I should have just scraped off the bottom jaw, cured the top, and then gone back in with the bottom jaw, but never mind. So I'm just opening up his little jaw, making sure I'm keeping his little jaw bones all nice and neat at the sides by pressing them in. He looks so happy right now. He does look slightly scarier at the end when I add teeth. Yeah, just watching it back now, he looks really funny because he looks happy. I'm going to call him Sid. Sid the Skull. Right, so I'm keeping all those sort of jaw bones in. I do him a little bit of a chin, give him a bit of a bum chin. I imagine you'd have quite a bum chin if it was just bone. And so this is the bit, I'm sure it was this bit, that kept blooming moving while I was trying to do like his teeth and things like that. So yeah, if you're going to do this design, I totally recommend doing the top of the skull where the mouth finishes, and then doing the bottom of the skull separately. So I'm just going in with my pointing tool now, and I'm just really gently pressing into the sort of top jaw just to give him some teeth. So he does look a little bit scarier. He didn't look so happy. There you go. He's scary now. And again, I'm just sort of tidying up. I was trying to make the gap between his front teeth and the bottom jaw a little bit bigger. And I was trying to do it without moving the top jaw that I just created. So again, if you are going to do this, it's way, way easier to do it in 2 stages. Right, so I've just got my spatula, because at this point I was getting really annoyed that I kept whacking it with my brush. So I just had my spatula with a little bit of the slip solution on, and I was just using that to poke it down out of the way, because it was just like a bit thinner and a bit more precise for just trying to get that down. So you can use anything really, any tools that you find to be helpful, but just make sure that they have got a bit of that slip solution in, so it doesn't stick to the putty. Right, I'm just doing some little sort of chin bone. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm making indents just to give a bit more detail to Mr. Sid, and they're giving him a bit of a bum chin. Look at that little cute bum chin. Just pressing it down a little bit, poking up his little bum chin. Oh my god. But you can do all sorts of things. I love this pretty putty because it is really, really workable. It is really, really good. I spend way too long faffing around with it. That's my sort of downside of it. But it's really, really good, and it doesn't set on you or anything like that. It will just stay exactly where it's put until you've cured it, and it cures in an LED lamp for 60 seconds. I've got no idea about UV, I'm afraid. I have no idea if it can go in a UV or the curing times. Right, so here I'm just using a bit of slip solution on my brush just to get rid of any sort of residue on the top coat before I cure. Right, so I'm just going to go in with a bit more top coat around Mr. Sid, because I'm going to stick some crystals on. I don't normally stick my crystals on with top coat. I will normally use the SBD London gem glue, or sometimes if I've got, like if I'm doing nails with builder gel, I will put them in a blob of builder gel before top coating. But as this was only on a display tip, I just stuck them into top coat. I'm going to use my SBD London, I think it's the Slimline gem picker that I've got. And I'm just going to put in some crystals just to make sort of, you know, jazz up Mr. Sid a little bit. These are all SBD London crystals. I cannot remember if I've just shown you what numbers they are. I really cannot remember because I wasn't looking at my screen just then. But they are the AB crystals in some kind of number. I'll try and find out and put it in the description box below because I cannot blooming remember what number they are now. But I'm just sort of decorating, I don't know, I'm just randomly placing them, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm trying to sort of keep it all on one side and making it sort of flow nicely and just making it appealing to the eye. I'm really rubbish with crystal placements. Might have to go on a course at some point for crystal placements because I'm not the best at knowing where to put them or anything like that. Oh, here we go. I think I did show you, I must have showed you the pot with the crystals in. And this is the caviar beads. They're like a beautiful, they're gold, but they're like pearlescent gold, like sort of see-through-y gold. They're really pretty. But they also show up whatever colour you're using underneath. So they're gold, but they'll sort of show the glints of red from the red polish underneath, which I kind of love. So I'm just using them. I've just got a little bit of top coat on my brush. And I'm just dipping that into the caviar bead pot, and it's sort of getting out like a little clump of them. And I'm just sticking them one by one. Oh, sorry if you can hear scooters going past. Listen. There's like a gazillion Lambrettas here for Lambretta weekend. Oh, and they're so blimmin' noisy. But yeah, so once you've done all your crystals, then you can just cure it in the lamp for 60 seconds. The top coat cures in. I think I do sort of faff around and put some more caviar beads on. And spill them all over the top coat and grab them from another area. But yeah, I just like this. It was quite a nice, it's not a simple Halloween design, but it is really effective. So you could just do these with like blood red nails. You could use colour 153 over the whole set of nails and then just have this like as an accent. Maybe use some of the crystals on the other nails as well to tie it all in. I will be doing some set designs soon, so like whole sets rather than just accent nail designs. So if you'd like to see whole set designs, please leave me a little message below in the comments. Right, so I am a complete idiot, and during the 60-second curing of this, normally when something's curing I pause my camera, and I forgot. So you're going to have a lovely 60 seconds of me clearing up crystals. I'm sure these are, oh my god, I think they're AB13s. I'm going to have to check. It's going to annoy me otherwise. And I just put them on my palette. Now this is like a mirror. It's a candle holder from, I think it was like from B&M for about £1. And it's awesome because so far it has been completely acetone resistant. So I use it as my paint palette, and for anything I need, if I need to put crystals on something or whatever, I use it, and I clean it up with acetone when I'm done to keep it nice and clean from any sort of gel polish or whatever. And yeah, so far it's been completely acetone resistant, which is awesome. Because I managed to completely wreck my lamp the other day because I decided to clean the bottom of it with acetone. And it was not acetone resistant. So I buggered that up. But yeah, so here is Sid the Skull, all out of the lamp. He's been cured for 60 seconds and he is all done. Let me know what you think, and I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.